Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is a very ancient one, and it's also a very extensive treatise. Brihad means big, very extensive, and Aranyaka is actually a part of the uh, text created at the dawn of human civilization. So oldest, while our ancestors were Aranyakas, forest people and forest dwellers, and later on they codified and incorporated that into the Upanishads by their successors, the dwellers of villages and cities, for teaching purposes and also for references, in particular Gurukulas. Now, I have been sitting alone and doing mental analysis, manana, and dhyana of these great vakyas uttered by the ancients, and the words as nectar follow into my thoughts and onto the pen and the pages of my book like a ray of light carrying the Amrita. And as I thought, this ray of light emanating should be communicated and shared with the posterity before the physical body falls. That is how it came into existence in. Actually, I started to write this in 1980, this particular Upanishad, and it finished only very late. And by about 1998, the entire 12 Upanishads were written onto the black and white pages and then went for publication. So the Sudha Sindhu was released out of its boundary within my heart space in such a long period of time. And once it came out, it became, I felt like I have put down onto this pen, to the pen for others to hear and listen and get inspired by the words of the ancients. Anyway, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad belongs to the Madhyandina and Kanva shakhas of Shukla Yajurveda. There are three ghandas in the three parts. One is Madhuganta, the other is Munikanta, or also called as Yajnavalkya Kanda, and finally the Khila Kanda, the rest. And in each of these parts, there are 2 chapters each, and total 6 chapters containing about 47 Brahmanas. Each Brahmana has got a definite name also. That is how it is, the construction of the text is. And I have given the sub-captions to the first one as Amritavarshini or Madhuvidya, the second as Maniganda as the Swarna Tirtha, and the Khilakanda as the Swachanda, to these 3 parts. Shanti Padam is the same as that of Ishavasya Upanishads that we have already discussed. Now, Madhumati or Amritavarshini is the first kanda. Madhumati is a bhumika or plane attained by the great yogin according to Patanjala Yoga Sutra. You know that, no? This very fact that this khanda is given that epithet shows that this is revelations or visions of such a yogin. And each and every thought in that Rishi's mind, expressed as the sweetest honey, rains Amrita in the listener or in the reader's heart also. Just like the Raga Amritavarshini, which is properly sung in Suswara, Susruti, and Rhythms, allowing one to experience the Laya in that experience, in that anubhuti or experience. Now, the first Brahmana is called Ashwabhrahmana. It says Om Namaskaram to the great Guru Parampara, who are the Rishis of the Vansha, beginning from Brahma, who instituted the Sampradaya or tradition of Brahma Vidya. So first is a salutations to all the ancients who created the Brahma Vidya. For those who wants to escape from samsara and to become one with Brahma, The part from Vajasineya Brahmana Upanishad, starting with Usha Va Ashwasya, begins. The Brahmavidya known by the word Upanishada ends samsara. Avasadana means end. It will end the samsara life. To cognize by pratyaksha and anumana what is best and what is bad for humanity. What is best for humanity? What is best and what is bad for humanity? That we understand or cognition of that by direct experience and by anumana, the seeing. And both with this cognition ends the samsara. Find out the method. Once you understand that, what will you do? We will find out methods to ward off the bad effects. No? And the karma becomes leading to good things. Like when you get the cognition, you also get the problem solving capacity. These are not everyone who can do this, no? Everybody thinks about our own problems, how to solve our problems, but not about the nation, about the world. Only a few people get that thinking, oh, everything should be good for the world. Everything should be good for all the people, like that, no? Therefore, the Veda expresses only the good things and the ways of achieving them and help us. There is no need to depend upon the seen world. The world which we see around are a lot of problems, no? There is no need to dwell upon that external world to cognize the Vedic words. If a thorn pricks the hand, we feel pain. To know that the hand should be withdrawn, that is the problem solving, no? As a problem solving, we need not go to Veda. That is only a natural reaction to the external world. So the external world produces problem solving of the reaction only. It is only action reaction. For that we need not go to Veda. Similarly, one who knows about the existence of Atman, even after the end of physical body, will not have any desire for likes and dislike or for problem solving to ward off Anishta, to make the life after death in heaven, etc. He does not desire heaven. Those who doesn't require a heaven, why should they do all these things? In this respect, a Gnani's view becomes similar to an Gnani or a total materialist when that comes. The only aim of the Shastra, science, is to prove the astitva of Atman. Astitva of Atman means the truth, the existence of an Atman, which give awareness to the satta or truth. That truth should be always changeless, a changeless truth. What happens to a dead man? Some say, oh, he is. Others say that he is not. He has gone. He is not there. Katha Upanishad, after discussion of both views, ends the discussion in Astitveva Upalabdhade. Astitva is proved. Truth is proved. Some of the jiva enters different births, different yonis, and take new births. May be born as a smaller, what you call, a younger, lower type of existence like an animal or a bird. Or we may go to an upper existence. While others become sthanu or sthavara, inorganic objects and trees even. This depend upon our individual karma, our individual actions and gnana or wisdom. The Atman is Swayam Jyoti. That means self-luminous. Atman is self-luminous. Gnana and karma follow Atman. Because of the self-luminous Atman, only we do karma out of our gnana. By good deeds, or punya. We are again born as the doer of a good deed. Punyavan. Because of punya, we become more punyavan. By papa, by sin, we are born again as the doer of sin. So, Atma has no punya or papa. When it has become Vijnana Maya, that light alone, the light of knowledge alone, the dualities of good and bad, punya and papa are not there. It is not touched by any of the dualities and is purely one. Eka, only one God. Eka Devam, only one God is there. It is not touched by any of your dualities. Since there is no direct experience of the sense organs, for such questions like what are the forms or bodies that I will take in my next janmas, what all forms I have taken in my previous janmas, there are no answers for that. The thinkers like Lokayatas, Buddhists, they are atheists. They came up with a dialectic of opposite view that there is no Atma, complete nihilism. There is no God, no Atma, only nihilism. But according to the Vainashika group, an aham or I, different from the body, is not there. They think that the physically perceptible, this body alone exists. And an Atma without this lakshana of a body does not exist. But in Veda, the existence and truth of an Atma is ascertained with the lakshana and witness of darshitva as experience. It is anubhuti, both by Veda and by worldly science expressed in the Veda. As examples, the astitva of the Atman is proved. See, there is something beyond this existing physical body that is proved by the Veda teachings. Mimamsaka, that is God and Brahma and Atman. God and Atman, they are not seen by your physical eyes, but it exists and it is proved by our anubhutis, our existence of our experience. So, Mimamsaka and logicians, by the lakshana of aham, consider it as a kalpana originating from our own minds. That is another group of thinkers. Therefore, it has pramana of both pratyaksha and anumana, they say. For those who think there exists an Atma within this seen physical body and who believe in the Punarjanma and the Dehantara Prapti and who wants to have a better life if a Janma, next Janma exists, the Veda gives some injunctions or Ajara Kriyas. The Karma Kanda is for that purpose only. By good deeds, one has to remove all the attachments and bondages to life, all likes and dislikes, and purify our words, deeds, as well as thoughts. Mana, Anna, Vak, Kayam, all should be purified. Then the next Janma will be better. And in that Janma, one can attain Brahma is the reason why people are doing Karma Kanda. The good works are done for that. What do you mean by Karma Kanda? The different acharas, the yajnas, saskarmas, all these are for that. It is Karma Kanda. But Veda is Jnana Kanda actually. No one wants a degradation into a life of a sthavara with a limited intelligence or into a animal, bird, etc. No? Everyone needs development into higher realms. When the samskara of the sciences, the shastra, become powerful in a human being, that person by his own mind acquires dharma and achieves what he wished for. This could be in two ways. One is karma with jnana. or knowledge of what we are doing and how we are doing and for what we are doing. That is karma with jnana. Karma alone without accompanying jnana, on the other hand, is not that good. It will not take you to the uppermost realms. It may take you up to Pidruloga. If karma with jnana is done, enlightened worlds, even up to Brahmaloka, the prapti of Brahma will happen. Therefore, the Shatapada Brahmana says, Atmayajina Shreyam Deva Vajina. A Devayajin who knows karma to attain Devaloka has Shreyas. But the Atmayaji has Shreyas greater than a Devayajin, because beyond the Devaloka or heaven, above them, above the heaven, is another loka called Brahma Loka, where you merge in the real God. The two types of karma, with jnana and without jnana, is remembered in Manusmriti as Dvividam Karma Vaidikam. If one does equal amounts of dharma and adharma, what you get? You become a Manushya Janma, or a human birth. The universe which we see around is in the form of sadhya, achievable, and sadhana, that is the process we do to achieve. This was existent previously as unseen and subtle. Just like a sprout from a seed, the samsara prapancha was created by avidya. To be liberated from this samsara, the projected signs of kriya, action, karaga is the doer or the one who does the action, and bhala, that is the effect of the action, and explained as anadi, beginningless, ananta, endless, and anartha, that without meaning. We need Brahma Vidya, which is opposite to this samsara life. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad begins for generating interest in Brahma Vidya. The purpose of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is to evoke interest in Brahma Vidya. So this is the first part of the first Adhyaya. Then speak about the Ashwa. What is Ashwa and how it is important in this chapter.